In today's video, we'll continue our NFL predictions and go with the AFC North. Find out who I have winning that division next. What's going on, guys? I'm Matt O'Leary, back with another video, and today's topic is going to be the AFC North, and I'm going to go through and give my predictions for who's going to finish first, second, third, and fourth. I know the first might be a little bit obvious, but we're just going to go through and we'll enjoy it for today's video. We did the AFC East last time. We're moving on to the AFC North now. We're going to finish up the AFC first and then move on to the NFC, and then I'll get into playoff stuff and way too early predictions. I love that football's back. But before we get started on today's video, why don't I remind you first that you can follow me on social media at Matt O'Leary NY, and you can follow me on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. I have a bunch of content going up there. I am selling New York sports merch, so if you're interested in that too, I'll link that down below. But without further ado, let's get started. So first place team. It's going to be a little bit of an obvious one. They're probably still the second best team in the conference, and that's the Pittsburgh Steelers. I have them going 11-5 this year. I don't think they're going to be super dominant, but I think they'll take advantage of a poor division. They still have Ben Roethlisberger, who is the best quarterback in that division. They still have arguably the best wide receiver in the league in Antonio Brown. They still have Le'Veon Bell for now. He might not be on the team next year, but they still have this window for this season where they're going to try and get this thing done. And offensively, they should be just good enough. And defensively, they actually were better last year than I expected. They were ranked 5th overall in yards per game. They were also 5th in passing, and they were 10th in rushing. So a little bit better on the pass defense than they were on rushing, but as I checked my notes there, but I just wanted to make sure that I had that one right. But they were definitely more improved in the passing game than they were defending the run. And like I said, I think they're going to be fine in cakewalk to AFC North title and maybe even a first-round bye. But after that, I have some question marks. Ben Roethlisberger's 36. He's hinted at retirement sometimes. But I do think that they are still the perennial winner in this division. Moving on, I have Baltimore coming in second, and I think they're going to finish at 7-9. They've done a lot, but I don't think it's going to be enough for them to get over the hump into a playoff team. Joe Flacco is regressing. He did not have a good year. He barely threw for over 3,000 yards last year, 18 touchdowns to 13 interceptions. There's a lack of offense, too, offensive weapons anyway. You look at wide receiving, it's better this year than it was last year, but still, these names, there's a lot of hope going on in here. You have Willie Snead, who's coming off a bad year with the New Orleans Saints, and you're hoping that he can go back to form of 2 or 3 years ago. He's still young. He's going to be 26 this year, but this is still a question mark with Willie Snead. And then after that, you have Michael Crabtree, who's just days away from his 31st birthday, so he's getting up there in age, especially at the wide receiver position. And he only eclipsed the 1,000-yard mark twice in his career. And yeah, he had 8 touchdowns last year, but you're hoping that he returns to older form. And this is his 3rd team in his career. He kind of bounces around. He's not always welcome in places. So I don't think they have enough on the offensive side of the ball. I think John Harbaugh is a good coach, but I don't think they have enough to make a run. I think they're going to be going to Lamar Jackson. Maybe not this year, but I could see a potential where they're wanting to make a switch as early as 2019. Then moving right along in 3rd place, I have the Cincinnati Bengals, and I have them coming in at 6-10. Marvin Lewis is heading into his 16th season. Yeah, 16th season coaching this team. 0 playoff wins. Not a whole lot of success there. I'm not a huge fan of Andy Dalton. I think he's an okay quarterback, but is he going to do enough to put you over the top? Probably not. They had the 32nd worst offense in the league last year, the dead last ranked offense in the league in terms of yards per game. AJ Green is obviously a great fantasy player. He's a fantastic wide receiver too. Probably in my top 5, I would say. And he's a good weapon, but who's getting him the ball? Who else do they have to make plays? I'm not sold on them. That's why I have them going 6-10. And their little window they had with Andy Dalton, I think, is slammed shut. And we'll see if they're going to continue on with Marvin Lewis. But I don't think it's going to be a very fun year in Cincinnati. And then in fourth place, I have the Cleveland Browns. And sorry, Cleveland, you're not there yet, but things are heading in the right direction because I have you guys at 4-12. And that is a vast improvement, obviously, because they went 0-16 last year. Couldn't be much worse. I actually like what they have on the offensive side of the ball. I think their receiving core is actually semi-decent. And also, the quarterback room's a lot better than it has been in years past. I'm actually a pretty big fan of Tyrod Taylor myself. I think he's a pretty good quarterback. I wouldn't say he's great. I wouldn't say he's awful. He's probably about average. He doesn't turn the ball over, a real game manager. And he has a really good work ethic from what you saw from the first episode of Hard Knocks. And then you have Baker Mayfield. And if you've been a fan of my channel for a while, you know how much I've appreciated Baker Mayfield and wanted the Jets to take him. But I'm obviously happy with Sam Darnold. But I was very impressed with Baker Mayfield's debut against the New York Giants. He probably looked the best out of any quarterback in their first preseason game, also playoff game. Not quite there yet. Just the first preseason game. And I think eventually he's going to get the starting job at some point this year. I don't think it's going to be right away, maybe about the halfway point, maybe a little bit longer depending on how well Tyrod plays. But I think somewhere around 4-12 is fair. I know this is going to be another tough year for the Browns, but they're not going to be a laughing stock at 0-16 or 1-15. They're going to win some games because they have too much talent on the offensive side of the ball. If you agree with me, comment below. That's who I got. And again, you can follow me on social media at Matt O'Leary NY. We're going to keep running this through. Next time, not necessarily my next video, because I might be talking some other stuff, but the next time we do one of these prediction videos, I'm going to be talking about the AFC South. So you're going to want to stay tuned for that. But if you enjoyed it, please subscribe, give it a thumbs up, and I'll talk to you next time.